Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Ni Irfan. So today I'm gonna tell you about chapter 9, which is concept in linear and angular kinetic. So basically kinetic is study about force, so which is inertia, mass, weight, pressure, volume, density, specific weight, torque, and also impulse. So first I'm gonna go to the inertia. So basically inertia is something that make an object moving using because of external force, which is the object will move or will change their or will have a motion because of external force, or because not because of the object want to move, but some things that make the object move. So next is mass. So basically mass is content of the object. So for example our body. So our body mass include our body fluid, muscle, bone and others. So next we're gonna go to COG, or which is center of gravity or center of mass. So basically the COG will change when we move, and the function of the COG is to maintain our body balance. So center of mass it is located at the center of the object or center of our body. So for example this pen. So how we want to find the COG of this pen? So we can do like this, and then we move until this pen are not moving or not fall. So basically this is the COG of the pen, because the pen are stable and not fall. So next is we're gonna go to weight. So for weight is depend on gravitational force. So for example on the earth, the gravitational force is 9.81. So we can simplify it to 10. So for example the object is the mass of the object is 10 kilogram. So if the object the weight of the object, so 10 kilogram we time with 10, so it will be 100 in Newton. So mass for mass the unit is kilogram, and for weight the unit is Newton. So now we're gonna proceed to the pressure. So pressure is when we compress some things. For example this pen. So for pressure, if the object have a large area, that's mean the object is low in force. So when I compress this pen to my palm, so that's mean this pen have a low force, because this pen cannot go through to my hand. But if I use a nail, so nail has a low area, that's mean it has a large force, so that's mean it can go through my hand. So that is pressure, and pressure the unit of pressure is Newton per centimeter square or meter square. So next is volume. Volume is, as we know, volume is length time with width and time with height. So next is torque. Torque is any movement that use a joint will produce torque. So now we're gonna proceed to vector algebra. So vector algebra are divided into two, which is scalar quantities and also vector quantities. And for scalar quantities, it just show us about the magnitude. But for vector quantities, it show us a direction and also a magnitude. So for vector algebra, the arrow used to represent vector because it show both, which is magnitude and also direction. So in this topic we have vector composition and vector resultant vector. So for vector composition, for example, if it is 2 plus 2, so it will equal to 4. So it seems like that, but it use an arrow to be a set to. But for vector algebra, it represent arrow to. Okay, in a simple word, in mathematics we have a number, but in this vector algebra we use an arrow to represent the number in this topic. So for resultant vector, it seems like in mathematics when we have a negative. So for example, as we know in mathematics, when negative plus with positive, so when the negative number is lower than the positive number, so the answer will be negative. But if the negative number is lower than positive number, then the answer will be positive. But if negative number is bigger than positive, so the answer will be negative. So for this, the negative arrow is lower than the positive arrow, so which mean the answer will be positive. But is the negative arrow is bigger than positive arrow, so the arrow will be direct to will be negative arrow. And the third is tip to tail method. Okay, so for example, I use my finger only. So this is the head of the arrow, and this is represent the tail of the arrow. So if we want to combine this arrow, so make sure the head of the arrow one, the first arrow, at the tail of the second arrow, and so when it like this, so we will have a resultant arrow, which mean it will be like this. But we need to make sure the head of the resultant arrow at the head of the second arrow, and the tail of the resultant arrow at the tail of the first arrow. So that is tip to tail method. So now we're gonna proceed to mechanical load on the human body. So in this topic, we have three force, which is compressive force, tensile force, and also shear force. So compressive which is mean compression. So it is something will compress. So for example, this ruler. So when we compress this ruler, so it will make a bend. So that's mean we compress this ruler to to do a bend action. Now we're gonna proceed to tensile force, which is tension. So which is we pull something. So for example, this pen, when we pull this pen, so it will be open. So next is shear. Shear force means something that twisting. So when we shear, we put a shear force at this pen, so it will twist like this. So it is shear force. So now we're gonna go to torsion, bending and combined loads. So basically torsion is just like shear, that's mean we twisting something. So bending and combined load, so that's mean when this ruler, so for example for the combined loads, so when we bend this ruler, so that's mean the tension, it will be up here and the compression will be down here. But when we bend ruler like this, the compression will be up here and the tension will be down here. So that's all from me for this chapter. Thank you.